Good evening, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to Monday Night Hudson Valley Squares, otherwise known as the rant of all rants, must-see TV on Monday night. We got Chris Allo, Nick Franco, Ryan Skow. Welcome to the show, everybody. Tonight's rant is all about those really cool album covers we saw. We went out and bought these albums. We're like, oh, this cover looks great. And then we listened to the album or the CD, and we're like, yeah, this is not so great. So we're each going to pick 5 cool covers, not so cool albums. I'm trying to remember what the order was last week. I don't remember. So Mr. Skow, you're going to go first. Then we're going to go Nick Franco, Chris Allo, and then myself. So we're going to kind of work clockwise the way I'm seeing the Zoom. So anyway, welcome to the show, guys. Good to have you again.
Good to be here. All right, so my first choice is a little controversial. I think it's generally regarded as this band's finest album. I don't think it sucks, but I think it's pretty lightweight in comparison to the cover art, which is really intense. And I think some of the later albums are better. And that album is my dog. First Armored Saint, which I love this work. It's freaking incredible. And I don't know, like I always thought like Delirious Nomad, like Symbol of Salvation, like much better, heavier, like just more essential albums from them. But that one's, generally considered the high mark of their career by many. So I'm not going to go and say shitty album, but definitely comparison to the cover art, which I think is the best art they ever had. It's kind of I don't know. It's not one I usually throw on.
I think for me, the songs are great on that album. The production could have been meatier. I think, Chris, you and I talked about that before. It's like
that's my favorite Armored Saint, but I totally agree. The production is definitely lacking. It's that thin 80s production.
Yeah. But definitely great cover. Definitely great cover.
Awesome. Yeah, great cover.
Yeah. All right, Nick, you are up.
All right, so for my first one, I'm going with a band that we all know that I love so very much. And I've made my peace with this album now, but when it came out, Far From the Sun, as you can see without the glare, there you go. I always liked this album cover. I love a Thor's Hammer, and that's a very elegant one. And I thought red was an interesting choice. It's very stark. It's simple. I liked that, but the music to me did not match anything with Thor's Hammer. It was a much more sedate version of Amorphous. It was the most sedate they ever got. I think I saw the album cover at that time and thought, okay, maybe we're going to get something more, reminiscent of their classic era. And it really disappointed me then, but I actually like the album a little better now. But I love that album cover, and the Thor's Hammer made me think we're going to have some balls going on. No, not so much. So, Amorphous.
That band threw a lot of twists and turns at us throughout their career, right? I mean,
oh yeah, other than Iron Maiden, I love the other band as much as Amorphous, but that cover was to me much better than the album was. And
I thought the first song on that album is really good. Your Beliefs, I think.
Your Beliefs, yeah. There's I've allowed this album to grow on me a little bit, but it does fit our little exercise here because it was crushingly disappointing at the time. But I love the cover. A unique choice of red. I think it was their only cover like that.
Yeah. So cool. All right, Chris, what do you got?
All right, this was a real tough one. I think I mentioned that to you before, Pete. And so I really dug through as much of my collection as I could find. And I used to get a lot. I used to go to the record collector conventions all the time in the 80s and into the early 90s. And records were cheap, and you had to be quick and grab stuff. So I would buy stuff, just buy the album cover all the time. And this one definitely was one apparently I got in 86. And at the time, I was really into like Possessed and Dark Angel. I still love the classic metal stuff, Maiden Priest. But from the look of this album cover, I thought it was going to be really heavy, and it was not. And it is Sacred Right is Nothing Sacred. And at the time, my typical typical way of doing things. If I heard a record and I didn't like it, I would just put it back in the sleeve and put it on the shelf. So I haven't heard this record for 30, 40 years. I listened to it last night, and I was like, it's pretty good. It's but I could see why I was disappointed because it's more traditional metal and it's pretty light, kind of proggy, but not a bad record at all. So I said to myself, I will definitely listen to it at least once more in the next 34 years.
There you go. Let me hold that up again. That's a pretty kick-ass album cover. I don't think I've ever seen that.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Now, with a cover like this, especially guys in 1986, there's a glare. I'm trying to wouldn't you think this was like a really heavy record?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on Medusa Records, which I don't really remember too much from them. But I remember putting it on and being like, wow, this is totally light. Although it's funny because I must have really been in a rush at the record convention because it's got the promo sticker. And right there it says melodic metal. Back, sound musicianship and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm an idiot. I should have looked at this. I could have saved $3 in 1986. Yeah. But not a terrible record. I will definitely give it another listen.
It's a great album cover. It reminds me of those old Sanctuary album covers.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yes, very much so.
All right. So this is a band that I dig a lot, and I've been listening to since they first came on the scene. And I remember when I first picked this up, I loved the album cover. I even went and bought a T-shirt of this when I saw them live. But I just, to this day, I can't get into this album at all. I've tried. It's the only album in their entire catalog that I don't like. It's Dream Theater's The Astonishing. It's an astonishing album cover. I love the artwork. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. But it's a double album, concept album. It's boring. It's unmemorable. It doesn't even contain all the stuff I love about Dream Theater. It's nothing really heavy on it. It doesn't have all the crazy instrumental stuff going on. It's like they're just trying to do this kind of progressive metal rock opera thing, and it just fails miserably. I told the story. I went to see them live and they played the entire thing live. I was hoping I'd love it. I hated it. I left 3/4 of the way through it. On my way out, though, I bought a T-shirt with the album cover on the front just because I love it. I love the cover art. But, man, the album just never connected with me at all. I've tried. I gave up. I was like, you know what? After 3 years, it's it's just one of those albums by a band you love that you're just never going to like.
So which is worse, that or Nostradamus?
I've even heard.
Probably Nostradamus.
Okay, all right. Just wondering.
But Nostradamus doesn't even have a cool album cover, so,
That's true. Yeah. Some old dude, Father Christmas.
Yeah, they both suck, though. I mean, that's we can safely say that.
Dog agrees.
Yeah. All right, Ryan, back to you.
All right. So this is a band from Poland. I've seen them quite a few times over the years. I have most of their albums, and a lot of their albums, when they really started to blow up, I honestly thought the artwork kind of sucked. This is their newest album, and it has fantastic, this awesome gothic painting. It's Behemoth, and the album is I Love You at Your Darkest. And the painting on this artwork is just awesome. I don't know if it's kind of dark. I don't know if you can really see it there. I blew it up on the computer. But, along with their last album, The Satanist, it's probably the best art they ever had. But I thought the album was just very boring, kind of I don't know if they were going for more of a goth rock thing, which is fine in theory. But the way they pulled it off, I was not a fan of it, But amazing artwork. And maybe the next album will kind of come back to playing more black metal, death metal like they've been known for the last 20 or something years. But
they've been trying to add a lot of different things to their sound the last couple albums. I find them hit or miss too. I applaud them for trying something different though.
This was a big miss. For a while, they kind of sounded like Nile, which was it was okay, like Demigod and Evangelion, or I forgot the name. I don't remember. I actually sold both albums because they just kind of didn't hit me. But I thought the last one, The Satanist, was really good, and this one, nope, not so much.
Yeah, I agree. I like The Satanist much more than the new one.
Mm-hmm. I thought The Satanist was maybe their best album of since 2000. I definitely didn't feel the last one as much either.
Definitely a lot of gothic things going on in that album though.
Mm-hmm. Which I generally like. I love goth rock. I love all that stuff. Sisters of Mercy, Bauhaus, all that stuff. But the way they integrate it, I don't know. It was very flat for me.
Yeah. He agrees.
Yeah.
All right, Nick. What do you got, Nick?
All right, so I'm gonna go. I was gonna do it in order of least popular bands to most popular, but I can't wait with this anymore here. So I wasn't in the wasteland of the 90s. There were many bands that came out that I wanted to like and never did. And one of those is Marilyn Manson. And I wanted to like Marilyn Manson because I like some industrial gothy type music. But I just never liked them. And then I remember whenever the hell this Antichrist Superstar came out, I just remember saying, you know, wow, that looks like a black metal cover. I like the way he's, you know, half in the picture with the eyes like that. Like that, if I had never heard of Marilyn Manson, I would be like interested, or my interest would be piqued, I mean, looking at this album cover. But oh man, they're just terrible, like boring and dreadful. And I want them, like I've always wanted them to be good. I think Marilyn Manson's a really smart guy, and he's said some very interesting things over the years in interviews, and he's known to be trifled with intellectually, but man, does that band suck. And you look at that album cover and it's something like Zyklon or Mayhem would have done maybe. And nope, it is an empty promise. It looks cool, but it's just boring crap.
That cover like really wants to look evil.
Yeah.
And it kind of succeeds. And then, the music just doesn't live up to it.
Exactly.
But a lot of people love him to death, man. I don't know.
And at that time, for that record, he was fucking huge.
Yeah.
I never got it.
Yeah.
In 2018, I was up at Heavy Montreal Fest, and they were, Marilyn Manson was one of the main performers, and I think they were playing opposite somebody I loved, like Emperor. But we had like 20 minutes to just look at them, and I was like, all right, let me just see what. Oh my God, I'd rather lick the pavement. Like, it was just awful. I was like, all right, goodbye. Just brutal. I don't know how anybody could be that bad and that successful. But nah, no accounting for taste.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got?
I'm up.
Yeah.
All right. There's another record convention buy for me. This was like, they were like touted as like the hot new band, and I picked up the record because, again, and I'm going in chronological order. But in '87, I thought these guys were like a thrash band, and when I got the record, I was like, it's kind of light, And in '87, I was into whatever the heaviest stuff I could get, and it's Laz Rocket, Know Your Enemy. So like I listened to the album like once. I remember I was really bummed because I wanted to love them. They even had Sting from World Championship Wrestling. I'm a big wrestling fan. They had him as this guy in the music video, and there's like shots of the back of the band with all pyro and stuff. But the album was just kind of lightweight. So again, I didn't listen to it since 1987. But I put it on last night, and I was like, oh, this record's pretty good. It's not bad. But yeah, for me, this was another blind buy, and it was a huge disappointment.
I can honestly say I don't think I've ever heard that band, and I remember hearing all about them all throughout the years.
They were, for like 5 minutes, they were like a big buzz band. They got on Headbangers Ball with that the video with Sting a bunch of times. And I don't remember if I ever saw them. I don't think so. But yeah, they just and there's probably, I think there is some version of them still out there playing like the European Fests or Keep It True, or they probably played not Milwaukee Metal Fest. What's a Maryland Death Fest or something? But yeah, just not for me.
Never heard it.
Yeah.
Heard up. I want to know what the name means. I want to know what is a Laz Rocket.
It's a take on the term Law's Rocket from the military, which is a light armored piercing weapon, and it's I don't even know if the military still does them, but it's like this big, and it's like a disposable bazooka.
Anti-tank.
Chris Allo,
Yes.
also known as Google.
That was an easy one because when I was a kid, I collected the GI Joes, and He always had like all the. But yeah.
I like Star Wars, so I can only tell you about fake stuff that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I do have some Star Wars coming up.
All right, who's next? Ryan, did we get you?
Are you up or I'm up?
I don't know. Did you do number 2? I lost track.
Yeah, I did do number 2.
Okay, so I guess it's me. All right. I don't know. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so I always dug this band, and this album came out a couple of years ago. What year did this come out? 2018, I think. And I remember, again, saw the cover. I was like, that's kind of neat, sort of. It's like a car kind of floating above the clouds. Pretty cool. It's called Use Future by the Sword. Cool kind of stoner doomy band, Good band.
Cool cover.
Cool cover. Yeah, the album's not so good. See, that's pretty cool. The album is kind of like a departure for them. It's got it's real atmospheric and kind of spacey and not heavy.
What number is that for them? I've only ever heard the first one. Like
it's, I don't know, their 5th album maybe. I've lost track. 5th or 6th, something like that. I mean, you've heard the old stuff. It's just the old stuff is very kind of Sabbath-y, stonerish, kind of a lot of groove,
Yeah, that's what the first one sounded like.
Yeah, it really isn't like that at all. It's very experimental. It's just kind of like dreamy, kind of forgettable, kind of boring. I don't know. I mean, I gave him credit for like trying something different, but I don't know. Had high hopes when I saw the album cover, and then and I dig the band, but I'm not nuts about it. Oh well, right?
I saw them twice, and both times I thought they were incredibly boring.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
this album's pretty boring.
The last time I saw them, I do remember thinking like, wow, it's really, all their shit is really spacey. I mean, they were the perfect band because they played with Clutch, and it was at the Capitol Theater in Portchester, which always gets like the hippie kind of jam bands, and they had the cool lighting, but it was just not for me. And I was, some people were loving it though. Mm-hmm. But I remember thinking, gee, earlier stuff was more Sabbath-like.
Yeah. And I don't mind this type of stuff because I like bands like Elder, and Earthless and stuff, and they're kind of along the same lines, but I just don't find this, it's just not that interesting. Yeah. So, oh well. Next. Ryan, back to you.
So next one is same as Behemoth, same vein as Behemoth. It's a band I like for a long time, and I really, really love their early stuff. Their second and third album, Come My Fanatics and Dope Thrones, like 2 of my favorite Doom albums ever. The band's Electric Wizard, and the artwork is pretty cool. It's very, very 70s sleazy. It's Electric Wizard, Bloody Wizard. Nice little play on Sabbath there too. Yeah. It's like just like a very like good sleazy, awesome like album, and they've been going towards more of that 70s kind of like grimy feel, and I think it's just boring as fuck. I do not like it at all. Like the earlier stuff with Mark Green and Tim Bagshaw is my favorite, but even when they left and did some of the later albums that are a little less like oppressively doom and a little more rock oriented, I thought those were good. But this one, I don't know if they just banged it out in a hurry, but no, I don't like it at all.
I never got into them. I never could.
Some of their albums are great.
Some of the old stuff, it's like Dope Thrones, one of the best doom albums I've ever heard in my life. I love it. And that's got a great cover with Satan smoking a bong and like very H.P. Lovecraft, the buildings in the background. But yeah, this album sucks. But cool cover.
Ryan, did you like that last St. Vitus album?
I'm gonna it's stored up here somewhere. I gotta like pull that Rolodex card forward. What was it called? I forget what the name of it was. It came out like 2 years ago or something like that. It's like, and your comment, like it sounded like they made that album in like 2 seconds. That's the St. Vitus album for me. Sounds like they just put it together over like a couple hours and a 12-pack of beer. It just sounded really put together and just kind of like. I must not have heard it then. Yeah, it's you're not missing much, and yeah, it's a shame because I really dig that band a lot. No, old St. Vitus rules. It was great seeing St. Vitus play the song St. Vitus at St. Vitus, the bar. That was like a little trifecta, That is cool, yep. All right, Chris, back to you.
Okay. This is from, again, going chronological order. This is from 1988. This is another record convention by, and I had read a little blurb about this band, probably like Metal Edge or Metal Maniacs, something like that. And then I went out and bought the first album, and I don't even think I made it through. I thought it totally sucked, and I just totally blew them off. But then, I liked their a little bit of their later stuff, and it's Guar with Hello. I thought the cover was really cool. The blurb, I had read about them, the whole, Antarctica warriors, and I thought it was cool. They were all on the cover, and like the decapitated bodies and stuff on the bottom. But, man, I thought this album totally blew in 1988. I just thought they sucked. But then I saw them on the Joan Rivers show in like 1990, I think, or 91, and I got Scum Dogs, and I thought that was a great record. And I really liked them after that. But I didn't listen to this album for 30 years, and I put it on last night, and I was like, well, it's not terrible. Like, it sounds like Guar, just really shitty. Like Guar on like a $5 production budget. The songs still aren't as good as some of the later stuff. But, that was my Guar Hello, which is, I'm not a huge Guar fan. I've probably seen them like 10 times. But I don't think anybody goes to see them, for the music. But I don't think Hello is highly. I could be wrong. I don't think it's highly regarded amongst Guar fans.
I never heard it. I don't think.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever heard. The Scum Dogs was the first.
Yeah, that's still their best record that I've heard. I mean, I feel like they're one of those bands that have like 50 albums, and I have like 8 of them, and I'm like, all right, that's good. I don't need any more.
Nick, did we miss you? I'm doing a terrible job running this show tonight.
We might have, but none of us are going anywhere. So.
You know what happened? Somehow you two guys got switched at the bottom whenever you did something. It just threw me all off. I'm just.
That's quite all right.
All right, Nick, what do you got, Nick?
So the next album that I want to feature here is the musical equivalent of that Nigerian prince that says you owe him or, send him some money. And it was like trickery, like a fraud. And you'll see why when I show it to you. So Operation Mindcrime is one of the greatest albums ever conceived by man. And as we all know, they made Operation Mindcrime 2. And,
yes.
Oh, and I saw the old logo and I saw the old little design and that stark black and white artwork.
I know where this is.
Oh, yeah. And I thought, oh, I know this. This is going to be awesome.
It's like the narrator. But
it is. And, there is a section of the album that I like, that Junkies Blues, International Conspiracy, that, like, buried at the end, it becomes real, like, whimsical, sort of, like, his thought process, in the story. And I'm like, oh, okay. But the rest of it is hot garbage. And they just tapped into that symbol, that skull with the symbol and the red and white. I mean, that's, I'm sure all of us here love the hell out of, the classic Operation Mindcrime. But, man, they pulled you in. They fooled you. I wound up buying it, thinking it was going to be great. And, like, oh, man, I don't even know when I got rid of that album. Probably not long after.
Yeah, that's a terrible record. And I remember going to the show. I got on the guest list, and they did both records. And there was the only song I remember liking is the song with Ronnie James Dio. And me and a buddy went, and the rumor was that Dio might be there in the city. So we sat to the first record, which is great. But seeing them do that now, like 10 times, and then they took an intermission. Then they did the second record. And as soon as they got to the Dio song and he wasn't there, I was like, all right, that's it. I'm out of here. Because that's a shitter if there ever was one.
It really is. There's like 4 or 5 good tracks on it. And they're, like I said, they're these short little tracks. They're not the main songs. Yeah. Oof. But they got you with that artwork.
They did. Well, listen, they knew how to sell it.
Yeah, and I know
they had no choice. All their albums, those couple albums before that were turds, and they weren't selling anything.
Yeah.
That one that Jeff Tate wrote, everything about the soldiers and stuff.
I think American Soldier.
Right? Oh, holy shit! So awful and depressing. Like, oh man, this is just garbage. Yeah.
No good.
Yeah, that's a killer.
All right. Speaking of garbage, all right. So another band that I love, and but one of these bands that have been putting out bad albums for a while, and I just keep buying them. And I saw this artwork, and I was like, all right, Roger Dean's drawn the cover. The cover's amazing. It's Heaven and Earth by Yes. I mean, great album cover. It's Roger Dean,
wow,
spectacular as always. And the album just like sucks. I think there's like out of the 8 tracks, there's like maybe 2 are okay. The rest is terrible. I don't want to hear Yes trying to sound like, Simon and Garfunkel or America playing like cool English pop tunes. I want to hear Yes playing adventurous progressive rock material, and this isn't it. Big disappointment. 10-minute warning we're at, so just so everybody knows. Yeah, just no good. It's one of I listened to it a bunch of times when it first came out. Will I ever have to listen to this again? Probably not, but I still have it here. So next.
All right, so this is one of my favorite bands. They put out conservatively about 400,000 albums. Almost all of them are good. And this album, I think it's late 80s, mid to late 80s. Awesome artwork, and it's the only album they ever put out that I think just flat out kind of sucks. And that is, you can probably see where this is going, Crusader by Saxon.
Wow.
And that artwork is a lie, because that is them trying to be like a glam band, like what Bad Boys, Rock City. Like that's like fucking bullshit, like Cinderella, like Motley Crue level stuff. That is not Saxon that I know and love. It's not, Wheels of Steel and Denim and Leather Saxon. And but the artwork is fucking amazing. It's like this classic, like epic metal cover, and the music is just kind of. But fortunately, they figured that out pretty quick that sucked, and never did that again. But
sorry, I'm a big fan of that album. Sorry.
Yeah, I like that. I don't. It's not. I mean, it's not my favorite Saxon.
No, it's not their best, but I dig it though. It's not their best.
It's the only one.
I agree with it. Compared to the couple that came before it, because Power and the Glory, Denim and Leather, those are great. But I don't. I mean, they put out worse than that one, I think. But yeah, they were going for a more Americanized sound, without a doubt.
Power and the Glory was before Crusader or after? I thought that was after. I could be wrong. I thought it was after.
That was the 5th, and Crusader was the 6th one.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Power and the Glory is awesome. That's like one of the best songs they wrote. The title track.
Yeah.
That's their best-selling record in America, from what I remember.
What, Crusader? Power and the Glory.
No, Power and the
Glory.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, Chris, what do you got?
All right, I'll make it quick. I used to go to the big European fest all the time. One of my favorite things was they used to have this metal market. It was like a giant flea market with tons of albums and tapes and CDs and cool T-shirts. And I saw this record. I was like, that's the craziest album cover I have ever seen. I have to buy it. Maybe it should be censored on your show, Pete, because it is kind of dirty and sexist. But the band is Dark Faith, and the album is The Sentence of Satan. And it's got some very pretty ladies on here doing some things that maybe your younger viewers shouldn't be watching. But I brought, when I flew back to America from Germany, I played the CD, and I was like, oh, all right, well, it's like, like a generic Kralefeld ripoff. I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I was expecting more with such a classy album cover. But, I listened to it. I got this in 2001. I listened to it again last night. And I was like, oh, yeah, all right. Well, it's still kind of like generic Kralefeld, but it's not terrible. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting soft in my old age. None of this stuff actually sucks as much as but it's not terrible.
We're better critics now, I guess, right? Back in the day, we
hated everything. That could be.
All right, Nick, what do you got?
Okay, so I've talked about those Norwegian black metal guys and Satyricon on our show here. They were starting to get crappy with their releases. And when I felt like the bottom was going to drop out, and I was like, they're kind of not heading in a good direction, they came out with this, The Age of Nero. And as you can see, the hulking black eagle with the eyes sticking out, and the great logo, and the pretty stark.
The logo is excellent.
Oh, I mean, yeah,
it is.
Excellent logo. I thought this album, I was like, okay, wow, this is badass. They had an eagle on their best album, Nemesis Divina, but nope, it's boring. There's like one good song on it, and oh boy, not delivering on the promise of the album cover at all. That's not. It should be like a Blue Jay or something, like a lot less threatening. But I said before, they pulled it together on their last record. But that one, the album cover, amazing. The album, not so much.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that either.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to pull out my worst of the whole bunch right now.
Wow.
So, when I was a kid, when this come out? 77, right? 78. Okay. So I'm 12 years old, huge Kiss fan, heard about the solo albums coming out. Peter Criss at the time was my favorite Kiss member. I was like, oh, great. I remember seeing this and, I bought them one at a time. I saw this in a store. I'm like, that's such a great painting of Peter. I'm like, he looks awesome with the green kind of around, whatever. I put this on the turntable. I'm like, what the fuck is this? R&B, soul, wimpy, pop garbage. Where's those raspy Peter Criss vocals and the thunderous drumming? And I'm just like, this is the pits, right? This is like, out of the 4 solo albums, Aces was great. Paul's was really good. Gene's was kind of crappy. This is just an absolute turd. And, all these years later, you think back on it's like, all right, well, this is really the kind of stuff he likes, right? But as a 12-year-old kid, back in 78, I wanted to hear loud Kiss-style music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this sold shit. This was the worst selling one of them. I mean, would it have killed him just to put out like a rock and roll record? I get it. This is what was in his blood, but man, was this a massive disappointment. I still love the album cover. I still own it just because, but man, I think I've listened to this once in the last 40 years, and it was not long ago, and I was like, yeah, this is just as bad as I remember it. Done. Next.
All right, so this is saving the best for last for me. This was my favorite. This is the band that got me into metal. This is my favorite band from when I was like 14, 15 for a fucking long time. And I bought this album the day it came out, which is kind of notorious. When I show you what it is, you remember what date it is. And the band is Slayer, and the album is God Hates Us All, which that artwork is fucking awesome because that's the I think there was 2 artworks. There was one with just 4 crosses. Very stark white and black background.
Yeah, the other was all white. Yep.
Yeah, yep. Bible with the nails pounded through it, and Slayer's it's seared in there. It's fucking awesome. And that's the first time in my life I heard a Slayer album. I just sat there with this big frowny face, just like, nope, not for fucking. I don't know. I didn't like their tough guy attitude, like that kind of like that hate breed, dropping F-bombs. I don't know. It never sat well with me. I go back and listen to it every now and then, is it really? And the second to last song, Warzone, all right, I throw that on some gym mixes because that's a pretty good song. But other than that song, I can't. It's probably my least favorite Slayer album, along with Repentless. It's never redeemed itself to me. And the artwork is fucking great, and it did come out on September 11, 2001. That was the date for infamy for that. But
that's right.
Yep. And I know a lot of people that love it.
That's true. Yep.
Return from Diabolus and Musica, which isn't great either, but I like that way more than that. Even that's like a minority opinion. But this one, I don't know. I never fucking liked it.
I hear you. All right, we got 2 minutes left, so let's the 3 of us just blow through ours real quick. Chris, what do you got?
Yeah, Nick mentioned Star Wars. This is a terrible grindcore It's a Star Wars porno grind record, and it's Zuckus tit fucked by a tauntaun. And it's fucking terrible. But it's a great. Tell me it's not a great cover though.
That is cool. That is cool. It's a terrible way.
A hell of a concept.
Oh my God.
Terrible way.
Nick, what do you got?
Yeah, well, to play off what Ryan was saying, I was giving up on Slayer a lot, and then toward the end, I'm like, oh, okay. And Repentless, I love that album cover. That is badass, old school. The logo, fucking pentagram, the Jesus looking all scared. Amazing. And it's that down-tuned crap. Sucks. It's like them trying to be themselves. They got a song in there that trying to be Dead Skin Mask doesn't work. Tom Araya sounds terrible and fucking low. The vocals are too low, and the guitars are too down-tuned, and damn, it sucks. Cover.
Dimmu Borgir, Ionian. Great album cover, very cool looking. I was hoping we get more of the classic Dimmu stuff. It's just boring and same old, and just not good. I think their better days, the best days are behind them. So I don't know. Don't dig it at all. Love the album cover. So that's it. We're out of time. For Chris Sallow, Nick Franco, Ryan Skow, I am Pete Pardo. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. We'll see everybody again next Monday, right? I mean, the Hudson Valley Squares will be back with another cool rant, so we'll figure it out and we'll bring it to you next week. So stay tuned. Thanks, everybody, and have a good one. Guys, we'll see you next week.
Good night.
Have a good one.